Alright guys, it is Kieran from Red Devil Weekly. We are back to preview Manchester United's game against Southampton. I do apologise to everyone, my mic was having a bit of issues, but we're back now it seems. Hopefully, fingers crossed, everything stays that way. But welcome everyone. I saw there's a few people waiting in the live chat. I'm sorry to keep you waiting. That was the reason my mic was having a few issues. But thank you to everyone who is currently watching. Really do appreciate it. And thank you to everyone who's going to be watching as a video as well. And if you are watching as a video, as always, make sure to leave your thoughts in the comment section down below. I love reading your comments, so please do let me know what you thought in the comment section down below. Let's read a few comments. Let's read what people have been saying. Brendan, thanks for joining. We got Adam, thanks for joining as well. There's Brendan's comment. We've got Adam joining. Thanks for joining, Adam. Appreciate it. We've also got Daryl as well. Good to see you, mate. Make sure to check out Dazzle's Football Stand if you haven't already. He says, come on, United. I love that optimism. Ricky goes with a bit more pessimistic approach. Title race over, says Ricky Clarkson. And to be honest with you, as I said, it's a little bit of a win or bust game, really. It's a bit of a win or bust game for Manchester United, this one, in my opinion, in terms of our title aspirations. In terms of our top four aspirations, I don't think this is a win or bust game. But I think in terms of our title aspirations, if we don't win this game, you have to think City have got a game in hand. Liverpool will probably overtake us as well. Leicester are only a few points behind us. So this game for me is a massive one in terms of our title aspirations. Whether really we had any of them in the first place going into this game. But clearly, we were in a title race before this game. Before really we lost the game to Sheffield United. Everyone was on the gravy train to the Premier League title. Unfortunately, that gravy train's been halted a little bit. And if we've got Everton and Southampton this week. I think we've got Everton on the weekend. If we lose both those games, if we don't turn both those games into wins, I just think the title charge is over, to be honest. I think the title charge is over. Charlie, thanks for joining. Appreciate it. Title aspirations are long gone, buddy. Yeah, well, I mean, you gotta hope. I mean, listen, I feel like even though we're 4 points off Man City, they've got a game in hand as well. They've got a tough February. I think they have to play Liverpool. They have to play Spurs. You never know. You never know. You just never know. So I'm not kind of saying it's over just yet. It's not over till the fat lady sings, as they say. Not to be sexist, of course. But realistically, it's looking unlikely. Yeah, it's looking unlikely, but I'm not giving up. I'm not giving up hope. Not giving up hope just yet. Adam says, Kieran, I'm going to be annoyed. Why didn't we go after Kabak? Yeah, to be fair, Liverpool brought in their centre-back that they needed. They needed a centre-back. It's not a Liverpool channel, so I'm not going to speak about it too much, but I guess they had to do that bit of business, to be honest. But yeah, fair play to them. Fair play to them. He's not going to replace Van Dijk or Gomez or any of them. I don't think he's that sort of quality, but they need to bring someone in like that, and I do feel like they will start to have a little bit of resurgence. They're already starting it now without Van Dijk. I think Thiago's had a massive impact on their team as well. So I think, look, the title is becoming a lot less likely, but I don't think you give up hope just yet. This season is so different. It's so topsy-turvy. So I wouldn't rule anything out just yet. And I feel like if we can win both these games, who knows what Man City does. Brendan says, take a breath, Kieran. You don't have to catch up on the last 15 minutes, do you? Maybe I do, mate. Maybe I do. But yeah, I'll slow down a little bit for you. I'll slow down a little bit. But yeah, we'll get into this preview because, as I said, this game is very, very important. Obviously at Old Trafford, which doesn't fill me with confidence. I'd rather we played them at St Mary's. We can't do it twice in a season. So unfortunately, we're just going to have to settle with playing at Old Trafford, which hasn't been a good hunting ground for us, even though it's our home ground. I think we've lost 4 games out of the 4 we've lost in the Premier League this season at Old Trafford, including losses to Arsenal, of course. Who else? Spurs. It hasn't been good against the top 6 this season, but we're going to forget about the Arsenal game. We're going to forget about it. I know Charlie trying to remind me of it. I know what he's doing. But we're going to try and forget about it. But anyway, Southampton to me is they're not in a good run of form, but they're a decent side. This season they've been very, very good. I think they've come into this game with 3 losses for the first time since 2019 in the Premier League. So they're not in the best of form, but they're still a decent side. And actually, if you look at the teams they've lost to, they lost to Arsenal, they lost to Leicester, and they lost to Aston Villa. 3 fairly decent teams. So even though they are coming into this on a bad run of form, the teams they've actually dropped points to, aren't exactly bad. So for me, we have to be wary of them, and I think as well, because they'll allow us to have a lot of the ball, the counter-attacking style that they play is gonna it could potentially hurt us, considering the way it hurt us and we were playing Sheffield United. So the fact that even Sheffield United could get joy against us means that Southampton could have an absolute field day if we're not on our toes. Yank Talking Smack, how you doing, mate? Thanks for joining, appreciate it. Make sure you check out Yank Talking Smack, great stuff on there. Adam says, Kieran, apparently Kim Jong-un is a United fan, so let's see if you can do I don't know, whatever that is on City and Liverpool. I'm not sure with you, Adam, to be honest. I'm not sure with you, Adam. I'm not sure Kim Jong-un really cares too much about United. I don't think that's too high on his agenda right now. But hey, if anything to win a title, Adam, anything to win a title. Shai says, I'm saying facts, I'm afraid. Fernandes doesn't show up in big games, bum. Oh, come on, mate. What's this? Well, I'll tell you what. All I'm going to say is this. If you were offered Bruno Fernandes, you would take him 100%. I'm not having this. You would take Bruno Fernandes. If he was on a plate, Bruno Fernandes sitting there, you would take. I'm not having that. I'm not having that. But yeah, listen, his stats in big games need to improve. But hey, listen, we're still second in the league, so I'm not complaining too much. Dazza says Van der Beek needs to be starting games, otherwise it's bye-bye for him, as he'll probably leave. Well, he said apparently, according to rumours, that he's not going to be leaving on loan this January, although to be fair, the deadline's pretty well come and gone, so that wasn't going to happen anyway. But for me, he knows his place at the club right now. I think Solskjaer's made it clear that Van der Beek is going to get his chance when he gets his chance, and he has to take his chance when he gets it. But for me, Donny Van der Beek will be starting in this United team come next season. I really do think he's that good. So, Donny Van der Beek, I wouldn't worry too much about him. Yes, he's a sort of quality of player that you expect to be playing week in, week out for a club like United, but he's still only 23 years old. He's still got a lot to give, so I'm not going to rush him too much. We'll just leave that there. I don't know what to say. Brennan says Ronaldo did not turn up for big games while he played for Man United. Well, to be fair, I think Ronaldo did turn up for big games, mostly. There were games where he didn't turn up, but then you can't say, in my opinion, you can't say Cristiano Ronaldo played badly against big teams, to be honest. But hey, maybe I didn't remember it too well because I was about probably 6 or 7 at the time. But I think, to be fair, Ronaldo turned up pretty well every week, and even when he didn't turn up, he was so good that he was probably the best player on the pitch. He didn't have to be at 100%. He was still one of the best players on the pitch. But yeah, Southampton, as I said, is going to be difficult. They come into it off the back of 3 losses. I think they've got a few injuries as well. I think Romeu, or the Greenwood Slayer, as I like to call him, he tries to take out Greenwood every time he plays. I think Romeu's out of the game, but apart from that, they've pretty got a full-strength squad, Southampton. I wouldn't be surprised if James Ward-Prowse scored a free kick against us. I'm pretty well chalking that up now. In fact, if I was a betting man, which I'm not a betting man anymore, I feel like put that on your bet slip. Ward-Prowse free kick is pretty well guaranteed. So set pieces are where they're going to try and exploit us most, and that is the thing that I'm worried about the most as well, because even though we climbed to top of the league, whatever, we're still shocking from set pieces. So we still haven't changed that. Still nothing's been done about that, which is frustrating, but somehow we're still in this position. So it really, I'm going to use a big word here, flabbergasts me how we're so poor at defending set pieces when you've got the height that we have in our team. It just makes absolutely no sense. Adam says, Kieran, how the hell do we make our payments? Make our players turn up? I know, say to Rashford, he doesn't. We won't donate to free school meals and make Boris do a U-turn. He was actually in my hometown today. Oh, fair enough. Hopefully, obviously it's a pandemic, so I doubt you'd be able to meet the great man himself, but listen, you can't really begrudge Rashford for the charity work he's doing. I think that's a bit too far. Just because he's not on good form, you can't say, stop feeding the kids and start scoring goals. Realistically, that's just not happening. But Yeah, I mean, some people have argued it's a charity work that he's kind of, taken aback by. He's kind of being, I don't know what you say. He's not concentrated on football. He's not concentrating on football. But I think that's a load of shite, to be honest. I think it's a load of nonsense. That was a criticism at the time. Yeah, to be honest with you, as I said, I wasn't old enough really. I wasn't on Twitter back then when Ronaldo was playing for us. I think I was like 6 or 7. So to be honest with you, I wasn't on Twitter back then, so I wouldn't have seen what the criticism was. I didn't read the papers either. Charlie says, kind of want to annoy Green or Foden, who you're taking. I'm taking Greenwood every day of the week, to be honest. I'm taking Greenwood every day of the week. Naveen says, forget title race, we should cement in top 4. Yeah, I think if we were to lose this game, I think that's definitely where we should go. I feel like, you're still in a title race till the fat lady sings, in my opinion, and you can't just give it up that easily. You can't give it up that easily. But for me, top 4 is where we're aiming, and that's where we aimed at the start of the season. So we have to keep focused on that. But I still think that while you're still in a title race, there's no reason why you can't go for it. And I'm sure with the team we put out in the Europa League, it'll tell us what Ollie's thinking. If we put out a strong team in the Europa League, you could probably argue that Ollie's going to not focus too much on the league and focus about winning a trophy. If he does play the kids, then I think it's a clear sign that he's looking to finish as high as he can in the Premier League. Dana says, Foden, to be fair, annoying to say, but Greenwood isn't good enough at the moment. I would only pick Greenwood just because, for me, I wouldn't pick a Man City player. But in terms of footballing perspective, in terms of just a football fan, Foden is the informed player right now. He is single-handedly keeping Man City where they are. So I think Foden's better than Greenwood right now. They play different positions, but I think Foden is better than Greenwood. There's no doubt about that. So I've said it. I hope you're happy. Brendan says, I'm happy as long as we're playing Champions League football next season. I think a lot of United fans would agree with you, Brendan. Dazza says, if I saw Boris, I'd say, would you like a cup of tea? Oh, that's a great clip. That is a great clip, Daz. Yank Talking Smart Colin says, don't give a fuck how we play. Racism is never okay. Tired of this shit. Yeah, man, obviously it's a serious point, really. Serious point to be made. Obviously, it's one of those things where it's mad how it's still happening in this day and age, to be honest. And you just think, to those people that get so annoyed over a game of football that they go to the point where they actually racially abuse a player. It's almost just sad, really. I'm not even, that angry about it. It's just more sad. It's just depressing, really, that people have that mindset. But, people are going to do what they do, and it's unacceptable, and it has to be stamped out. But until actual action happens about it, then... those people that say that sort of stuff aren't really football fans. Let's be honest. You can't be a football fan and be, have that sort of mindset. So, yeah, it's disappointing. Disappointing, really. Brendan says, how is that not normal request? Man United pay his wages at the end of the day. Yeah, to be fair, that is true. That's true. It's a fair point. Fair point, well made, Brendan. And Naveen says, Chong, Pereira, Delo, Lingard, Mendy, Palestri on loan, Foster and Rojo gone, Igalo gone. Looks like our squad is limited for the rest of the season. Yeah, some people would argue, Naveen, that, as Ollie's doing, the work that we all were hoping that managers would be doing, which is clearing out the deadwood. You look at the likes of Rojo, you look at it, Chong, Pereira, Delo, Lingard. A lot of people were putting them in the deadwood category. So the fact we are kind of slowly getting rid of them might not be the worst thing in the world, in my opinion. Dazza says, it's from years ago when he offered all the journalists cups of tea instead of answering the questions. I know, I saw that. That was a funny clip when I saw it, Daz, not going to lie. Daz says, it's going to be a long top 4 race. It'll be another last day of the season. I wouldn't be surprised. I would not be surprised. It looks like it's going to go down to the wire. Although, to be fair, the way Man City are playing right now, I just don't see him faltering. I don't see Man City faltering. I could be wrong, but I just don't see it. Leave a like, by the way, guys, if you aren't already. That'd be absolutely fantastic. But we're gonna get into the Man United point of view, and I think for me the biggest thing that I've highlighted in the title is that it is win or bust for Manchester United in terms of our title aspirations. And I think Ollie will be looking at it in a similar vein. I think he'll be looking at this as a very, very important game, and it's just for momentum's sake. We need to win this game. To go into that Everton game with 3 games without a win would just be really put a massive dent in our confidence. So it's we need to win this game. There's no doubt about it. And I think beating Southampton as well, again, knowing they're a decent side, would give us a bit of a confidence boost. And yeah, 2 very difficult fixtures this week. This week could really make or break our season. There's no doubt about that. So yeah, for me, I just think we need to get the job done. I think the way we do it is by allowing Southampton to come out, allowing them to gain a bit of confidence in the game, and leave those spaces in behind. If they play a low block, if they let us have the ball, we have proven time and time again that we can't break these guys down. We can't break low block teams down. We can't. We just can't. At Old Trafford, we struggle. And with the form Bruno Fernandes in right now, unfortunately, it's going to be an uphill struggle to break down those sort of defences. So for me, that's something we've got to worry about. And I think Hassan Hüsel, knowing the sort of coach that he is, will be looking at making it as difficult as he possibly can for us. And by giving us the ball and saying, you know what, you've got to come at us, that's going to make it difficult for us. Even though on paper, we should have the players to, beat their low block. It just never happens that way. It's never that easy. So we've got to be wary of that. That's what I'm going to say. Adam said, Kieran, I saw Boris. I was scared after remembering him tackling a kid out of a rugby carrying match. Yeah, again, another classic Boris Johnson clip there. Naveen says, how amazing is this sport? We are over the moon as we're top of the table for Sheffield. And that game entirely changed everything. Well, yeah, exactly. That's the thing with football and just sport in general. How, up and down it is, especially this season. This season has really highlighted how up and down football is. If you look at, like previous seasons where teams have run away with it and it's been really, it's been really easy to predict. This season has been anything but, and yeah, it's one of those things. You look at Chelsea, you look at Liverpool. These were teams that were close to the top of the league, and all their fans were rejoicing and celebrating. And now they're not so much Liverpool, but Chelsea obviously had to sack Lampard. It got that bad, so I hope it doesn't get that bad for Manchester United's sake. But at the same time, It could. You never know with this. You never, ever know. Jamie's joined us. Thanks for joining, Jamie. Great to hear from you. He says, evening, must win tomorrow. Really can't lose. I totally agree with you, Jamie. Totally agree with you, my friend. As I said, it's a must-win, win or bust game in terms of our title aspirations. I wouldn't say it's a win or bust for our top 4 because there's still a long way to go. But in terms of the title, Man City just look too dominant right now. If we keep losing points, it's going to be a long day. It's going to be a long day for United fans. Naveen says, when strikers didn't finish sitters like Cavani the other day, that doesn't mean Bruno had a bad game. Yeah, that's fair enough. I mean, obviously, if you saw on social media, Cavani posted that video of him like missing chances and basically saying that he will score again. I think that's elite mentality from him. I know he was getting a bit of stick from United fans in the comment section, but to me, that's elite mentality. To post your misses in a compilation, I have to salute that. But it was frustrating, the few misses he had against Arsenal. If he puts one of them away, the narrative changes. That we put on a masterclass if he puts away one of those chances. So it's the nature of football, really. Fine margins, and Cavani. I'm sure he will score again. He is that type of striker. Once he gets back in form, I'm sure he'll be a very good weapon for us up front. Douglas says no one was brilliant against Banter FC. Yeah, I like that. Yeah, I remember. Yeah, they're not Arsenal. They're Banter FC, mate. I know. Brendan says nice cameo, Jamie. Where you're off to now? Jamie says not sure, Brendan, mate. But yeah, as I said, I think if we look to counter attack and Southampton let us counter attack, I think we'll win the game because, in terms of counter-attacking, we're one of the best sides in Europe, and I totally believe that. And you can call me deluded if you want. But in terms of counter-attacking teams, I don't think there's any better counter-attacking side than Manchester United, really, at this point. As I said, you can argue with me all you want. You can argue with me, you can argue with me all you want. But for me, we are the best counter-attacking side in Europe. But the problem is that teams don't let us counterattack anymore. They don't. Because they know they've copped onto the fact that that's our main tactic. So, that we've got to be wary of that. And we actually have to change our tactic in games. Brendan says, I might put Kieran on 0.75 playback though. It's as if he has to go to bed in 5 minutes. And I'm sorry, I naturally speak fast, Brendan. I'm sorry, I'll try and slow it down for you. Jamie's predicted 11. He goes with De Gea, Wan-Bissaka, Maguire, Bailly, Shaw, Matic, Pogba, Greenwood, Fernandes, Rashford, Cavani in a 4-2-3-1. And to be honest with you, looking at that, I would probably go with it. I'd probably go with that, to be honest. Bai coming back into the team as well, I think is massive. You know, he's recovered from his injury, so I'd like to see Bai back in. You look at Greenwood, Fernandes, Rashford, Cavani. Yeah, I think, to be fair, Martial hasn't been great, but to be fair, Rashford had an absolute stinker as well in our last game. So, you know, none of our forward players are scoring right now. None of our forward players. So that's something we've got to be worried about. Niall, mate, how are you doing? Thanks for joining. Appreciate it. And by the way, make sure you check out the Football Addiction. Brilliant stuff on there. Really enjoyed coming on, having my say and debating with other football fans. So make sure you check out the Football Addiction. Really, really good stuff on there. And thanks to Niall for letting me on. Also Sonny as well. Shout out to Sonny as well. He says, are you excited that Ollie has said that he's adding Phil Jones to your 25 Premier League squad? It's a major addition. It's a major addition. He's going to bolster that defence. Although, to be fair, in some games, you could argue Phil Jones wouldn't do a worse job than any of our other defenders. But to be fair, recently, we've not been too bad at keeping clean sheets. But we all know how long is that going to last, realistically? How long is that going to last? But thanks for joining, Niall. Appreciate it. Naveen says, time to use bloody Van der Beek. I think, obviously, you echo Daz's sentiment there. Obviously, Van der Beek, being the guy that a lot of people are, suggesting that we need to play. A lot of people are suggesting that he's sitting on the bench and that he's wasting away on the bench. And to be honest with you, if I was Van der Beek, I wouldn't be happy. I would not be happy. The fact that you had the opportunity to go to Real Madrid and you ended up coming to Manchester United where you sat on the bench and warmed the bench for the first, 4 or 5 months. It's not been a good time for Van der Beek, really. But when he has started, he's looked good. And that's something which, fathom, one of the things I didn't really understand at first was against Arsenal, when McTominay went off, he brought on Anthony Martial, and Van der Beek was sitting on the bench looking on thinking, he's literally brought off a central midfield player and he's replaced him with a forward. I'm sitting on the bench, I barely play and I still not get on. I mean, to me, I didn't get it. I didn't get that personally, but in the end we got the draw, we didn't win the game, and actually in the midfield battle, I didn't think we won that midfield battle. I think it was pretty even. With Van der Beek in, who knows what might have happened? Who knows? Brendan, on the other hand, says people expect too much from Van der Beek. Connor goes with his 11, says David De Gea, Wan-Bissaka, Bai, Maguire, Shaw, McFred, Bruno, Rashford, Cavani and James, says Connor. To be fair, Connor, you always put Daniel James in your starting 11, but I like that. I do like that. McFred, obviously, I'm not sure that Solskjaer's going to go with McFred just because it's not a top 6 side. Even though Southampton are a decent side, I don't think he's going to go with McFred. I mean, unless that he's got a few more of them sicky pills he can give to McTominay, I doubt he's going to be playing in this game. But I think Fred might. Although, to be fair, my pick is going to be Nemanja Matic. I think it will be Matic, Pogba and Bruno Fernandes in that midfield 3. So, I do like James, though. I do like James. In the back 4, I totally agree with this. Naveen says Hughes and Hannibal from under-23s on fire. Oh, Hugel, sorry, and Hannibal from the under-23s are on fire. He can be in the first team. I do like the look of Jordan Hugel, or Joe Hugel, sorry. I do like the look of Joe Hugel. I think he scored 4 of the 6 goals that United scored against Liverpool's under-23s, which, even though it's very, very impressive, it is the under-23s. And I mean, to be fair, the main thing I was looking at was Diallo. Diallo scored that Panenka penalty. It was beautiful. A thing of beauty from Diallo. He's going to go right to the very top. I've decided. He's going right to the very top. It's done. But he scored 2 goals in that game. And to be honest with you, on form, he's actually probably one of our best attackers on form, statistically. I mean, he's the only one that scored in the last few games. Dazza says, Van der Beek isn't good enough offensively to play cam, centre mid or CDM. Oh, no, centre mid or CDM would be more suitable. I think that's been the problem for Van der Beek, is that because he's competing a little bit with the likes of Pogba and Bruno Fernandes for their roles, he's found it very difficult to break into the team simply because they've been very good recently, especially Pogba. So it's so difficult for him to break into the team. But even when we're playing against teams like Sheffield United, do we really need to play that CDM? We played Matic against Sheffield United and it turned out to be an absolute disaster from Ole Gunnar Solskjaer. Realistically, against teams that part the bus a little bit, do we really need a CDM? Do we need one? I don't think we do. So in those sort of situations, I think Van de Beek wouldn't be the worst person to put in. Naveen says sometimes Bruno and Pogba isn't working. We make so many passes, but sometimes we're not creating clear-cut chances. Use Van de Beek. I thought that, as I said, I thought that against Arsenal, Van de Beek coming on would have been a good choice. Connor says can take advantage of where fullbacks. Their top fullback is out injured. Of course, Southampton did pick up a few injuries. It was add insult to injury really in the Aston Villa game. They did not deserve to lose that game. Those are VAR decisions. I'm not complaining about VAR, trust me, I'm a United fan. I can't complain about VAR. Except for the fact that Ole Gunnar Solskjaer said in his press conference that they got back the kind of referee's report from the Sheffield United game, and it basically said that the goal Sheffield United scored, they admitted they got wrong, and the goal that we should have had, they admit that got wrong too. So we should have won that game 2-1. Absolutely livid. Absolutely livid. But hey, we played shit in that game anyway. We didn't deserve to win that at all. I'm not going to sit here and be that shameless and say we deserve to win it. But the referees literally said they got both decisions wrong. But Varchester United, Varchester United. Niall says he'd go with De Gea, Aaron Wan-Bissaka, Bailly, Maguire, Telles, Van de Beek in the DM, Pogba box to box, Greenwood, Fernandes, Rashford, and Cavani. I can see how that works. Obviously, he's got Telles coming back in, which I think not as many people that I've seen put their lineups have actually thought about. Because yeah, Alex Telles hasn't played the last few games, and especially because this is the third game within the space of 7 days. Solskjaer will be looking for a little bit of rotation. So Telles, I can 100% see Telles in that team. And I think in terms of Rashford and Cavani up front with Greenwood, that's got to be our best front that front three, if you know what I mean. Obviously, I think that's the 4-2-3-1 with Greenwood, Fernandes and Rashford as a three, Cavani up front on his own. And, you know, it's one of those things where against Arsenal, we should have won that game. If you look at the chances we had, we should have won that game. Yes, to be fair, Arsenal had chances as well, but I think we could have won that game. We really could have. But thanks for everyone who is watching. Really appreciate all of your support. Hit that like button if you haven't already. It really does. Does help us out on the channel, so thank you so much. And also make sure to check out all the channels that we've shouted out as well. The Football Addiction, Dazzle's Football Stand as well. Make sure to check out all those great guys. Keep getting your comments in as well. I'm going to give my predicted 11 in just a second. Jamie says Hugo needs to bulk up. He will get bullied by Premier League centre-backs at the moment. Yeah, that's obviously Joe Hugo. Looks good in the academy, of course, but he does look a little bit slender, to be fair. He looks similar to what Marcus Rashford when he burst onto the scene. You know, when Marcus Rashford first burst onto the scene, he was quite slender, and now he's bulked up a little bit. So I think it has to be done for probably 2017. Like, we can't get too ahead of ourselves with him, but he does look a good player. There's no doubt about it. But we can't put too much pressure on him. You know, he's only a lot to come from him. As I said, keep getting your comments in. Connor says Van de Beek is a box to box. Scott and Fred is a double pivot, which is why both are there. I mean, yeah, I think. For me, I'm not 100% convinced on how good Van de Beek can play that defensive role. I think he can. I think he did play it a little bit for Ajax. But I don't know. I'm not sure whether he can play it in the Premier League. That's the one thing I'm a little bit concerned about. We all saw how good Van de Beek was when Juan Mata was playing with him. You know, him and Juan Mata were so good. Their interplay was just class. Obviously, that was in the Carabao Cup against teams like Luton and Brighton. But, you know, it's got to be noted that it was very, very good. Oh, Walker Peters is the guy that's injured, of course. I know that Connor made a reference to the fullback that was injured. Thank you, Jamie, for that. K-Side's joined us. Thank you for joining, K-Side. Appreciate it, my friend. Appreciate it. Dazza says he hasn't been great recently. I'm not going to lie, he's got downgraded by the United Stand community against Arsenal. He hasn't really been that great, to be honest. He hasn't. But hopefully his form picks back up. Brendan says, I was told there'd be a giveaway today. Winner would get to pick the new name of the channel. That's what Jamie told me. I'm not sure what Jamie's telling you, Brendan. I'm not sure. Brendan's claiming he didn't. No, Jamie's claiming he didn't. Jamie's claiming he didn't, but I never said there'd be a giveaway. Mate, I'd love if I was minted and I could buy Xboxes and PS4s to give away, or if I was sponsored anyway, I would do giveaways for days. Trust me. Unfortunately, I'm not in that sort of money. So, but trust me, in the future, maybe giveaways could be something that could happen on the channel. I'm sure you guys would enjoy it, because who doesn't like a giveaway? Who doesn't like free stuff? But that'll have to be something for the future, I think. That will have to be something for the future. Adam says, hi Kieran, I'm back, I had to pray. Fair enough, Adam. No problem at all, no problem at all. Yeah, I just realised, Jamie, just realised. Niall says, actually swap Rashford for Dan James, as Rashford needs a rest, he looked tired. Fair point, definitely a fair point. You know, Rashford has pretty well played every game, well, mostly every game this season. Even if he hasn't started, he's come on as a... One thing as well is that something that happened last season, which could be happening this season, is Rashford playing with an injury. I actually think that Rashford could be playing with a little bit of an injury. Last season he was playing with an injury. We brought him on against Wolves in the FA Cup. He injured his back and then he was out for 2 or 3 months. And we got so lucky in terms of that, that the COVID situation came along and football got postponed because, Rashford was able to recover during COVID. And then we were able to have Rashford for the last few games of the season. This time we're not going to have that luxury. So, Rashford on his day can be very, very good. But when he's playing with an injury, he's just not it. He's just not up to it. So, again, I agree. We've got to be careful about Rashford. He can be a really good asset when he's fit and when he's firing and when he's on form. But right now, it's just not the case. So, I think we've got to be careful with him. Issa, thanks for joining, Issa. Great to hear from you. He says, evening, mate. Van der Beek is good. He's really... he really is an unwanted signing. No doubt his quality, but what does he have to do to get a game? Anyway, tough game ahead, just hoping for the best. That's pretty well sums up most United fans right now, especially after the last 2 performances. Yeah, I think, Van der Beek seems to be a hot topic in the live chat, which I like. I like that. But yeah, I think, I agree. There's no doubting Van der Beek's quality, as you said. I think, it's difficult when you've got Pogba and Bruno in the team to get a game ahead of them. And I do think Solskjaer has his favourites in terms of McTominay, in terms of Fred. So I don't see him getting into that CDM role anytime soon. Under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, that is. Maybe under a different manager. And I'm not suggesting for a second that I want Solskjaer to leave. But under a different manager, Van der Beek probably would have started. But under Ole Gunnar Solskjaer, I don't see him starting whatsoever, unless one of Bruno Fernandes or Paul Pogba gets injured. I actually think that Van der Beek was brought in because of the eventuality of Paul Pogba leaving. And so with that in mind, they brought in Van der Beek and, they tried to fit him in the team. Unfortunately for Van der Beek, Pogba's still here. And so now Ole has got the selection dilemma that he has. But especially in the Europa League, Van der Beek will be one of our best players in the Europa League. I've got no doubt about that. He's going to be the guy that's going to be starting, hopefully, in the round of 32, round of 16, quarters and semis and final, if we win it. I'm not putting too much hope on that, but if we do win it, I'm sure the kids will have a big part to play in that. I'm sure Van der Beek will have a big part to play in that as well. Jamie says Lindelof is playing with back problems. Rashford struggles with his shoulder. Exactly. Lindelof is the exact same. When Lindelof gets thrown back into the team, you do wonder whether it's premature. And even with Eric Bailly, there's no need to do that. Now we've got a bit of a depth at centre back. There's no need to keep playing Maguire and Lindelof. Bailly clearly is the best centre back at the club right now. So why Solskjaer keeps persisting with Lindelof, I'm not sure. But you got to say that Lindelof recently has actually done pretty well. I mean, 2 clean sheets back to back against Liverpool in the league, clean sheet against Arsenal. It's not bad going. It's not bad going, really. Dazza, optimistic, he says we ain't getting past Sociedad. Fair enough, to be fair. They're not a bad side, actually. They're not a bad side. Jamie says, when Rooney used to have injuries, he had injections to get him through the game. The famous one, of course, was when we played West Brom, I think, when we won the title in 2010-11. And he was practically, he was literally hobbling about the pitch. But it was mad, really. It was mad. Naveen says, just imagine Bruno signing now. Who is passionate and demanding? Damn, we could be damn good. This board. Yeah, well, look, the fact that we did sign Bruno Fernandes was a masterstroke, to be fair. We all knew how good he was before he came to United, but there's no doubt that signing Bruno Fernandes is probably the best signing since Sir Alex Ferguson left. I don't think anyone can really argue with that, unless you guys have got any other suggestions you'd rather put in. But for me, Bruno Fernandes has to be the best signing we've made since Sir Alex Ferguson left. So I think, if we were to sign Bruno Fernandes now without Bruno Fernandes in the team, yeah, we'd have that kick up the arse that we had last season. And, it'd be the perfect time, really, considering we're on a bit of a lacklustre run of form, to have that kick up the arse. So, yeah, so obviously we signed Bruno Fernandes now. It's great to have him in that team. He's not playing that well at the moment, but there's no doubting his quality. There's no doubting his ability, and we can't turn on him. I've seen a few United fans starting to turn on him a little bit, but we just can't. I mean, it's ridiculous. Come on. Bruno Fernandes is pretty well the reason why we're in, second place and not in 10th place. But I'm going to give my kind of predicted 11. I'm going to do this off the top of my head. But I think you've probably seen someone put it in the live chat. I pretty well agreed with what someone said. I can't remember the comments, so I do apologise. But I'm going to go with David De Gea in goal. I don't think we should change the goalkeeper around. I think even though Henderson wouldn't be the worst option, David De Gea for me is still above Henderson. I think he's going to go with Wan-Bissaka, Maguire, Bailly and Luke Shaw. I almost said Lindelof. Telles potentially, because he does like rotating, but I wouldn't be surprised if he continues with Luke Shaw, considering how big of a game this has become since we drew that game to Arsenal. I think the midfield, I think he will go back to Nemanja Matic, and I think a lot of United fans will be a little bit unhappy with that, considering how Matic played in that Sheffield United game. But I think he will go back to Matic. He'll go back to Matic. He'll go back to Fernandes and Pogba, and then he'll go to Cavani, Rashford and Greenwood as the front three. So you could either play that in a 4-2-3-1. You could kind of play that in a 4-3-3 if you wanted, I guess. So yeah, that's my predicted 11. Brennan says it's always you with the same bloody 11. Oh, brilliant. No, listen, well, in the end of the day, I'm just... I say it's difficult to predict Ollie's 11s, but the only thing that he seems to change with his 11s is it's either McFred or it's Matic. That's the only thing that seems to change. There's not much else that changes, so it's becoming a bit easier, which I'm happy about, because it means that I don't have to say, oh, it's difficult to predict. Now I can actually predict an 11 and confidently, and I think that's probably what he's going to go with. There might be one or two changes, but I just see the fact that this game is so important now. I just don't see I don't see too much changes from the 11 I've said there. Niall says, if you guys don't want Bruno, I'll take him down at Argyle. Yeah, mate. We'll send him. We'll send him there. We'll just as you said here, obviously, you'd have to pay his wages. Well, we could just listen. Bruno ain't going nowhere. We literally have to tie. If we don't get top 4 this season, we're gonna have to literally lock Bruno in a dark room, turn the lights off until the start of next season, because that's the only way he's staying. And as a player of his quality, should be challenging for Champions League. There's no doubt about that. If we don't win a trophy this season or progress this season, I tell you what, I wouldn't be surprised if he was an outgoing in the summer. I really wouldn't. And Naveen says, when you have Bruno-like player and is on elite form, we need to quickly surround him and more demanding players and quickly turn the team solid. Well, I totally agree. When you've got a player like Bruno Fernandes, you've got to build around him. Because if you don't, as I said, and you start faltering and you don't win trophies and you don't progress, he'll move on, because he's a good enough player to play at a very high level. And if we aren't proving that we can be that high, just say, mate, I can go to Real Madrid, I can go Barcelona, Bayern Munich. Every club will be knocking at our door wanting Bruno Fernandes, and we've got to be careful with that. Adam says, Kieran, have you ever had a fight in school? No, I haven't. Not really. I don't know what else to say to that, Adam, but I mean, thanks for asking. Answers on a postcard. But anyway, I'm going to give my score prediction and then we'll probably wrap it up there. So if you guys in the live chat want to get your score predictions in, everyone get your score prediction in. I'll read all your comments out. And if you're watching as a video as well, make sure you leave your thoughts in the comment section below, your score predictions for the game. Are you confident? If you're a United fan, if you're a Southampton fan, do you reckon that you're going to shock us? Are you going to do the business at Old Trafford and fully end our title hopes. So for me, I'm going to go with a 2-0 win to Manchester United. I don't know where I get the confidence from, but I just feel that there is gonna have to be a big response now. You know, we're without a win in our last two. We need to be on it, because Southampton are a very, very decent side, especially when they're playing on the counter attack, and we need to learn how to beat a low block. We haven't done it. So for me, it's going to be 2-0. I think we'll keep a clean sheet. We've been keeping clean sheets recently, so I feel like that vein will probably continue. And it's a win or bust situation in terms of our title hopes. It's a win or bust situation. Few people getting their predictions in already. Connor goes with 3-2 United. I like that. Obviously, a repeat of what happened a few seasons ago. Lukaku was still playing for us back then. Jamie goes with 1-1, saying a draw. Naveen goes with 2-1 United. Don't want another midnight 2 a.m. game that disappointed. Fair play to you, mate. The dedication to get up at 2 a.m. I can't imagine getting up at 2 a.m. to watch the absolute dross that we played against Sheffield United. I just can't imagine getting up. So, fair play to you, Naveen, man. I got to salute you. And also, if any of you guys are watching from other countries around the world where you have to get up at, you know, the godforsaken hours of like 1 a.m., 2 a.m., mad respect to you. Mad respect to you. Yeah, Connor says only fights we've gone into recently with sparring. Oh, fair play. We've got a boxer on our hands. Fair play to you, Connor. So Jamie says Ralph Hasenhüttl very tactical at times. Credit where credit's due. He's a very, very good manager. Beat Liverpool, of course, at St Mary's. There's a reason why they're up there this season. There's a reason why they've done a lot of giant killing. And I think with the players they've got, the personnel they've got a real team on their hands. I'm hoping that the injuries they have means they're a little bit weaker. But I think it's going to be very, very difficult tomorrow. I'm not going to lie. Niall goes with 3-0. Mason Greenwood hat-trick. We can all dream. We can all dream of a Mason Greenwood hat-trick. That would put a lot of cats amongst the pigeons in terms of the Greenwood Foden debate, and I'd absolutely love it if that happened. Kobe goes to 3-1 United. Thanks for joining, Kobe, as well. Appreciate it. I love that as well. 3-1 United. Brendan going with 4-1 to Manchester United because he's saying everyone's being pessimistic. To be fair, that is a trend. When United fans get really overconfident, we always lose. And whenever we get really pessimistic, we always win. So maybe towards the end of the season, we just all have to be really down about our chances. Just say, yeah, we're going to get smashed every single game and we'll win. Maybe that's the trick. We've been missing it all this time. Adam says 1-0. Also, Kieran, you're forgetting when we won 3-2 2 months ago. Obviously, that's at St Mary's, though. That's at St Mary's. The one I was talking about was obviously at Old Trafford, so there's a bit more symmetry there. But obviously, we won 3-2 at St Mary's. What a game that was. In the end, anyway. I mean, I wasn't saying that at half time, but it was a brilliant game of football. And we need that Cavani back. That clinical, 2 goals, bam, bam, Cavani. Because he wasn't there at the Emirates, and he hasn't been there really. I think since he scored that goal at Everton, he hasn't really got on the score sheet. Oh no, he scored against Fulham, didn't he? But he does pop up with the odd goal. But I think actually his biggest contribution has been creating space for the likes of Rashford, Greenwood, and Martial. When he's on the pitch, there's no doubt we are much better with him. We look a lot more of a threat. We saw that against was it Sheffield? Yeah, we saw that against Sheffield. When Martial was up front and Cavani wasn't on the pitch, we barely created anything. But when Cavani came on, we had so much more space. So I think Cavani is not just a goal scorer, but he can also open up that front line. Connor says I'll be doing my preview tonight, so send any questions for the video into the comments on my last Twitter post. Yeah, make sure to check out Yank Talking Smack and send in the questions. And check out his preview. Naveen says, until we get a Vidic like centre back and Ronaldo like winger, these predictions will always be like this. That's fair enough, to be fair. It's a bit of a dramatic drop off from Vidic to Ronaldo to Maguire and Rashford. Yeah, I don't even want to think about that. Jamie says, we're shit at Old Trafford this season. Prefer us in away games. 18 games unbeaten in the Premier League. The last time we lost was last season, 2-0 against Liverpool. It's an amazing record. And really the only reason why we are where we are. Kobe says, must avoid conceding silly set pieces. Agreed. That's going to be Southampton's main threat, in my opinion. Oh, and obviously Ward-Prowse. As I said, a Ward-Prowse free kick. Put that on your betting slip. Stick it on your betting slip. Ward-Prowse free kick. It's going to happen. Brennan says, coming back from 2-0 down will put us in a psychological advantage tomorrow. Exactly. Just knock a few goals in early doors. Will be right as rain. Right as rain. Liam, thanks for joining. I think I think it's the rare occasion we've actually had 2 Plymouth fans in the chat at the same time. But Liam, great to hear from you, mate. Thanks for joining. He says, my prediction is 2-1 United, mate. Bruno and Cavani to score. Well, I don't care who scores as long as we win. Of course, mate. 100%. As long as we win, Liam. But yeah, 2-1 United. As I always say, it doesn't matter whether it comes off someone's arse in the 95th minute or it's a Bruno penalty. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. We need to win games. We need to start picking up 3 points. Because Man City have got a game in hand and they're already 4 points ahead. So yeah, as I said, I don't want to think about that too much, but we just got to do our job. We've got to win our games and hope that Man City drop points, which isn't looking likely. Naveen says, don't know what is Fletcher teaching to 2 Scottish men. Yeah, obviously Fletcher, some people are saying that Fletcher's not only improved McTominay, but he's actually improved Paul Pogba as well. So hopefully that continues. Jamie says, Ward-Prowse loves a free kick against us. That's what I'm saying, Jamie. It's on the cards. It's absolutely on the cards. I'm not, as I said, I'm not a betting man, and I don't encourage anyone to bet. I'm not sponsored by any betting companies yet, but as I said, it's on the cards, really. It's on the cards. Brennan says the only 2 Plymouth fans I interact with on the internet. Oh no, it's the only 2 Plymouth fans on the internet. I think that's a little bit harsh, but to be fair, I think that they are the only 2 Plymouth fans I've seen. But to be fair, I'm not in and around those sort of circles, so I'm not gonna. I'm not going to make those sort of comments, but obviously you can. Hey, Max Payne's joining us. Max, how you doing, mate? Good to hear from you, mate. Good to hear from you. 2-1 Southampton. Oh, well, there you go. To be fair, Jamie did say that at Old Trafford we've been absolute shite this season, and we have been shite this season at Old Trafford. And as Dazza says, I hope you're wrong, to be fair, but that shout might not be too far off considering runs of form we've been in. Southampton do come into this game on the back of 3 Premier League defeats, and it's actually the first time that they come into a game off the back of 3 Premier League defeats since 2019. So that is a good omen, but it just means that Hasenhüttl will light fireworks under their arses, and I guarantee you we'll see an AC Milan 2005 AC Milan style performance, or maybe 2006, because in 2005 Liverpool beat them in the final, didn't they? So yeah, again, I don't know why I'm bringing up Liverpool. Why am I bringing up Liverpool? Why do we don't want to hear from this? Daz has gonna have to disappear now, Kieran. Daz, mate, always good to hear from you. Thanks for joining, appreciate it. Make sure to check out Daz's football stand. Always good to hear from you, mate. Oh, Pieface, of course. He's the most famous, really. He's a quality. I think in terms of FIFA YouTube, I'm not a connoisseur of FIFA YouTube, but when I used to watch it religiously back in the day, the guys you see, Bateson, Managed the Game, all these guys were quality. They were top quality content. And now I don't see it really. But Pieface, to be fair, he's funny. He's still funny to me. But hey, maybe that's just my humour. But yeah, Pieface, of course, probably one of the most famous ones. But it's good to get a bit of diversity of fans. It's always good. But guys, I'm probably going to end it there. But thank you so much for watching. Really do appreciate all of your support. Hit that like button if you haven't already. Subscribe to the channel as well if you are new around here. And also if you're watching on the replay as a video, thank you very much. Thanks for getting this far. Make sure you check out in the recommended videos as well, and also leave your thoughts in the comment section down below, your predictions, your thoughts going into the game, any questions at all. And finally, make sure to check out all the channels that we mentioned on the stream, the Football Addiction, Daz's Football Stand, all those guys. Make sure you check them out. Brilliant stuff on there. But anyway, thank you so much for watching. Really do appreciate it, and yeah, really appreciate your support. Hopefully we get the win against Southampton tomorrow. Hopefully we're talking about a win, because we haven't been able to talk about a win in the last, week or so. So we need that win. We need that 3 points. The title challenge is still on. I fully believe it's still on. Maybe I won't be as full of hope tomorrow. Hopefully I am. But anyway, thanks for watching, troops. Appreciate it. And I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.